Today is July 18th, 2011, and we are here today for the Louisville Historical Museum to interview Manuel Silva, and his son Chuck is also here to help us with the interview. And Manuel and Chuck are from Lafayette, and Jean Morgan is filming, and I am Diane Marino, and I will be interviewing. So let's start out first of all, where you were born, parents, family background, who came from where,
Date of birth.
date of birth. So what, you were born in what year?
1920,
And you were born in
Lafayette.
Lafayette, okay.
I've been there 91 years.
Wow.
Mm,
Do you live in the house you were born in?
no.
No,
Uh,
okay. So I know some people do. So tell us about your family. How did they end up in Lafayette? How did they end up in Lafayette? And Chuck, you just jump in too.
they come from Trinidad, Aguilar,
Oh, okay.
and they come to Lafayette, and we were coal miners.
So they came up there to work in the mines?
Yeah,
Okay. So those, were your grandparents from that area too?
yeah.
From the whole southern Colorado?
Mm,
Okay. So then did your parents stay in Lafayette?
yeah, about a mile and a half east of Lafayette.
Coal
Creek.
Up by Coal Creek?
Yeah,
So they worked the mine, your dad worked the mines too?
yeah,
And your grandparents worked the mine too?
yeah.
What were your parents' names?
My dad was Emilio Silva, and my grandpa was Garfield Borrego.
And they were all from southern Colorado,
Yeah,
right? Okay. So, did you go to school in Lafayette too?
yeah.
And what grade did you get through?
Ninth, I went to ninth grade, yeah. I couldn't get algebra, so I quit.
Tell them why they kicked you out of school, Dad.
I used to trap a lot, muskrats and skunks and stuff. And one day I trapped a skunk, and I shot him before I went to school. Early in the morning, I shot him, and he squirted me.
Oh,
And I went to school, and the teacher said, "Close the windows. Seemed like we got a little friend kind of close." And I was really laughing, you know. And she said, "What's the matter, Manuel?" I said, "I got squirted by a skunk this morning." "Oh, you could go home." Hey, so I went and I set some more traps. That's what I used to love to do that.
so then you never went back?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you did go back, okay. So why did you leave school?
Oh, I couldn't get algebra.
So then you decided to go to work?
Yeah,
Okay, so, and then did you work in the mines?
yeah.
So where did you start out at in the mines? Which mine?
Imperial. Imperial.
Which is, was that in Lafayette or
No, what's that, east?
Erie?
Yes.
Yeah, east of Erie.
East of Erie.
Let me help you a little bit, Dad. I think, I don't know much about it, but the three main mines that I knew, the Eagle, the Washington, and the Imperial. And one, I forget which one, was right next to I-25 on the east side.
Right.
But Dad worked mostly at the Imperial
Yeah.
for most of his years.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think the Washington was
I think
on the
that
other side.
that's right. I
'Cause
think
I
that's
used to go with my grandpa to go
Uh-huh.
there, yeah. All right, so you went to work in the mines, and you were, how old, about 14?
No, I was about 17.
About 17?
Mhm.
So what was your first job in the mine?
Timbering.
Timbering, which is,
Setting timber so the place wouldn't cave in.
hard work?
No, that was easy.
That was easy?
Mhm.
You didn't mind that one, huh?
No,
You didn't mind being down below in
no,
the ground?
no, I didn't mind it.
Were you a big, strong kid?
Yeah, I was pretty healthy, yeah.
So what other jobs did you do in the mines? Because how long, first of all, how long did you work in the mines?
About 30 years.
3 years?
Mhm.
So what kind of jobs did you do? Was that the only one, or?
I was a buggy man, drove a buggy, and I was a cager.
Okay, so tell me what those jobs were.
Caging was sending the coal out,
Oh,
and buggy was taking the coal to the little cars. You know, the continuous miner would load the coal, and then I take it to the belt, and the belt would take it out.
okay. All right. Did you ever get injured when you were working?
No,
Wow.
no, I was lucky.
Very lucky.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. So, were you working in the mines? I'm thinking during World War II, didn't they work pretty much nonstop?
Yeah,
Because they needed
Yeah.
a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those 3 mines were the ones you mainly worked at. Right?
Yeah.
You never worked at the Simpson, huh?
no.
So how'd you get to work?
On the car, drove.
You did have a car? Because I know some of the miners talked about having to walk.
No, we had a car.
Okay.
But I wanted to help Dad with what he's told me, to the best of my knowledge, was that, the tunnels go back, and there's machines that rake in the coal, and they put them in them heavy little carts. When Dad was a cager, he made a block of wood. He cut it because it's got to be an incline because they're very heavy. Dad, and he made these little blocks of wood to put the brakes, so that when the cage came, he would let a car go in there, boop, and it'd go up, and then boop, boop, come down, and he was very, very good at that.
You'd have to be, or you'd get
Oh yeah.
run over or hurt.
If he missed a car, Dad, it went. If he
Went in
missed
some.
if he got going too good, and it missed, it would unload in the sump, and then you had to shovel it out by hand.
No,
Oh.
Didn't want to do that,
No.
Dad?
no.
But then they lifted the whole car
Yes.
up and then dumped it when it got to the top.
Yeah.
Now, were these coal cars the wooden coal cars that we see around town, or were they the metal ones?
Which ones?
They were coal cars.
Were they
wood
metal or
ones?
wood, Dad? Do you remember?
Metal.
Yeah, they're
Metal ones.
heavy.
Oh, really?
They're heavy.
So they're a little bit smaller than the wooden ones, aren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah. Do you know about how much the coal they hold? How many, is it a ton or?
a ton and a half.
Really?
About a ton and a half, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Huh.
Neither.
Do you remember what kind of coal it was? What, the sizes, did the sizes vary or?
Yeah,
what-
nut, mostly nut.
And what does that mean?
That means that was about like this.
Like that size.
Okay.
And was there one called pea or slack or
Yeah, slack.
when
and
they were little tiny?
Yeah,
With the little.
slack. And then the lump was a great big chunk. The lump was big chunks.
So now, when you were working in the mines, were you involved in were there any strikes going on or problems?
No, ma'am.
No, not when you were there.
No.
huh? Okay. Well, that's
Everything,
good.
everything was pretty good, yeah.
Yeah. So now, when you went, did you work mainly morning shifts or
Yeah, day shift,
day shifts?
yeah.
So when you were working, did you just eat down there too? Have your lunch down there? You
Yeah.
never came back up?
Yeah. We had them lunch buckets that, like
Lunch
this.
bucket?
Here,
No.
Chuck.
No. We had lunch buckets like that. To carry the water on the bottom and the lunch on top.
Why don't you open that up and?
And when Dad would get home, it was kind of a young kid thing for me to look see if he had any sandwich left, which not usually, but I always would drink water out of even if it was warm by then. I don't know if it was just proud of my dad or what, father-son thing or something.
Oh, that's sweet.
A lot of good food in that bucket, had Dad?
Would you ever go and get beer in that bucket after work for your dad?
Oh, no.
No.
No. That was strictly for work.
Some of the kids in Louisville would then go to the saloons and get the bottom of the bucket filled full of beer.
Oh, yeah?
Them kids in Louisville are ornery.
Chuck's not that old.
I'm just kidding you. No,
That would have been much earlier.
Oh, that was in the early days.
all Dad ever had in it was sandwiches and water.
Did you ever go get beer for your dad in the bottom of his lunch bucket?
No, never.
Did you guys not ever drink beer over there in Lafayette?
Yeah, we drank beer, but
Oh, yeah.
not out of them buckets.
I see.
Of course, Lafayette at that time was still a dry town east of Public Road.
I didn't know
There weren't
that.
any saloons or bars or anything. You had to go to the west side,
That's correct. I remember that.
which was considered East Louisville for a long time. Yeah.
I have another question, Manuel. I've heard of the Tommy knockers. Did you ever take a little piece of your sandwich and throw it out for the little gremlins or the elves in the mine just to keep them satisfied so they won't get you into trouble?
No,
Did you ever hear them?
there was rats down there.
Oh, just the rats?
That's what the Tommy knocker were.
Rats, yeah.
Did you feed the rats?
Yeah,
Oh, did you?
yeah.
Did you have canaries in the mine?
No, just rats.
Just rats.
So you never had any trouble with explosions or gas or nothing like that?
Never did.
Good. So,
Thank
so
God.
they were safe mines?
Yeah.
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Dad, they sent someone down before all the men went down.
With
And
a
I-
death trap.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
make sure that it was safe for everybody, I
Yeah.
believe.
Each shift, did they do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember what that person's name was? What he was, who he was called, or just the
Just a lamp man.
lamp?
Man.
Lamp.
Lamp man.
And what was the procedure? I mean, did he have a lamp, and if it went out, it wasn't good?
Yeah,
What was
no. That's what it was.
Okay.
The lamp was about this big, and gas. It'd go out as soon as gas.
Uh-huh. And then the men wouldn't go down.
No, they'd have to air it out.
Would they bring in big fans?
Yeah, they got fans down there.
I like to say that when Dad working there, you know, we've all heard of black lung, and where that machine was raking the coal and the men working back there, but where Dad had his little area where he operated the cage, he had a nice little clean area with a calendar and ate their lunch. He wasn't in the real filthy part of where the men come out real dark.
So you never suffered from black lung?
No,
That's pretty amazing.
I went and had it checked, and I was all right.
Good, good.
Thanks to God.
That's why, yeah, you lived.
That's why you're 91, I bet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah. So you weren't really deep in the mines then, were you?
We're
I
about
mean,
300 feet.
You were 300 feet
No,
below,
no,
but then you didn't go back in
no.
from there.
I was right there, sending the coal out
I see.
on cages,
Did you have anything to do with weighing the coal or just hauling it up?
hauling it up,
Okay.
and they done the weighing it outside.
Now, when you started working there, were they still using mules or?
Oh yeah, they had mules. No,
Yeah. Did you ever work with my grandfather, Sam Marino?
I don't remember.
I don't think he was at those mines. I don't think
I
so.
worked with your dad, your grandpa, for $1.25 an hour. I worked for the City of Lafayette,
Oh, yeah.
taking care of the
Yeah,
graveyard.
my grandpa, both my grandfather, Sam Marino, and then my great-grandfather, Joseph Veronica, all tended the cemetery at some point when they retired from mining. Yeah, yeah.
So I worked with your grandpa.
Yeah, he was a character.
Did you ever work with Vic Slavic?
Oh yeah, yeah.
He was a mule handler, wasn't he?
Yeah.
What can you tell us about those mules?
Well, they used to load the cars and the mules would take the little wagons out.
And then would you unhitch them, or would the miners unhitch them?
The miners.
The miners, and then they just send the bucket over, the coal car over to you, and you lift it
Yeah,
up.
send it out, yeah.
Uh-huh,
That's what my grandpa Sam did when he started. He was about 12 with the mules.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Were those mules, did they go blind because they were down there for so long, or what was the deal on that?
I don't think so.
Did they bring them up in the summer when you guys
Yeah.
weren't working?
Yeah.
Did they have to put something on their eyes to kind of get them
No,
ready for the
I don't think so.
Oh, really? About how many mules did they have down in those mines?
About 5 or 6.
And you had a story about going down there and finding, would you tell that story, Chuck, when you went down to the mine about the mules?
Well, my Uncle Andrew, who was claimed to be the oldest living miner in Lafayette, when he was 95. I don't know how many years he's been dead.
This is
10.
your Uncle Andrew
Andrew Borrego.
Borrego?
And when Dad took me down the mine, I only went once in my life and I didn't like it. And Dad took me down there, and you know, the world doesn't change down there like up here. And there's these old wooden stalls, and I believe the name was Pat written, and that was one of Uncle Andrew's mules, the wooden stalls down there.
Oh,
And it was neat because Uncle Andrew was a coal miner you know, all the Lafayette, Louisville, Erie guys, and some from Longmont. One of Dad's good friends, Mariano, what was his name?
Marion Gallegos.
He died in the mine. I don't know exactly how.
Got buried.
Oh, he got buried in
Yeah.
the cave-ins?
But
What
he was
his
from
name
Longmont,
again?
Marion Gallegos.
Marion?
Yeah, Marion Gallegos.
and he lived in Longmont, right, Dad?
Yeah.
He was your friend.
I think sometimes we forget though that, yeah, people from other areas besides Lafayette, Louisville,
Oh,
Erie, and
true.
Superior would have come over and worked, because I never think about that.
Sure, we were just the closest one
Yeah.
that we relate with. We're neighbors here.
Yeah. Now you brought, what is this tool that you brought here? That looks like a, what is that?
That's to hide your clothes.
Oh,
You know, this clothes we had to change to our mining clothes, and this would be hanging up.
oh.
So I got to tell you that this was in my dad's basement for about 400 or 500 years, and I was down there just, I think, last year, or something. And I said, Dad, what is that nice hook you have down there? He goes, that's my old. And I remember that when he took me that day, there was a rope goes through there. This is just made very. You can't buy one of these at Walmart.
Yeah.
And it had a rope, and they'd put their coveralls and stuff. And I think, I don't remember if they tied their shoes or they were on the floor, and they raised this up so they had more room there, because there wasn't very much room in that locker room or whatever
Yeah.
it was. But I remember that. I think I was 12 or something when he took me down there. But that's a special little piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you wouldn't know what it was.
Oh no.
So there was just a wire or a pipe or something across the ceiling, and
I really don't remember. But I remember that there was a little rope through this, and they just pulled it up, maybe 8 foot off the height. And if you put it right here, you could pull this up, and then you have a little more room. Good idea, I thought.
would you ever would you just tie it, or would you lock it? Like maybe you had your wallet up there, or did you always take your money down with you
No, we just left it in the clothes
in
there.
your clothes?
Mhm.
Did you have a padlock or anything that you put on
No.
that?
Everybody just had their clothes
Everybody
hanging.
was pretty trusting, huh? Yeah.
Everybody was such good friends, to the best of my knowledge. His friends from Erie, Richard Martinez, and some of them, the guy from Longmont that got killed, and the guys from Lafayette, Roy Calvo, Alex Torres, all that group.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you about that too. Did all the different peoples who worked in the mines, you know, all the different nationality and ethnic groups, did they all pretty much get together too, or were
Yes.
they just like kind of sectioned off?
No, they were all together.
All together.
Uh-huh.
And when it came time to unionize, were they all together on that too?
Yeah. Yeah,
Well, that's good. You were all in the same boat.
yeah.
Trying to feed the kids.
Yeah.
They'd have meetings on that,
Uh-huh.
and they'd all be all together.
Okay. Do you remember any of the leaders in those union meetings, or was it just the guys kind of talking, or did you have a real leader and somebody
No,
to talk
there was
to?
the guys talking,
Uh-huh.
and there was our bosses and different things.
Yeah. Would you tell the story that you told me about Di Leonardo? You had an Italian friend that something about your lunches,
Oh yeah, we used to trade lunches, yeah.
and
Miguel Leonardo,
Just like
And what-
elementary school, huh?
he was Italian.
and what did you get to eat, and what did he get to eat?
Oh, he'd burritos. He'd eat burritos and I'd eat his spaghetti and stuff like that.
I'd like to intervene here because Dad told me this story, and I met DiGennardo from Louisville here. I met him like,
That's Tom DiGennardo.
yeah, and when they said his name, my buddy Tom McClure said his name, and I said, you know, buddy, I said, I think it's nice to meet you. I think my dad worked with your dad, and we started talking, and he said sometime, not all the time, but one time he brought chicken cacciatore, and Dad had eaten about 1,000 burritos, and so they traded. He ate chicken cacciatore, and DiGennaro ate burritos, and they were both happy campers.
So the DiGennaro that you're talking about, his name I think was also Thomas
I'm not
DiGennaro,
sure.
but he went by the nickname Ginger Rabbits.
Yeah,
Ginger
I
Rabbits.
remember that name,
Yeah.
Dad.
yeah.
So
That
he
one
was
rings a
Louisville,
bell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of a miner and gambler and,
Yeah.
yeah, so Ginger Rabbits, yeah,
DG and I become pretty good friends. I like DG.
yeah. And DG was his youngest son, yes, yeah. Well, that sounds like a deal, trading lunches for that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So how old were you when you retired?
I was about, well, I was in the mine about 30 years. So let's see, I was about 18 when I went down there, so how much would that be?
Oh,
So
somewhere
about 50?
About 50?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, did you work at other jobs after you retired?
Construction.
Did you? Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. What kind of construction? Like,
Sewer lines and water lines and stuff like that. Buildings.
I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dad, many of the miners, I know my dad for sure, worked construction in the summer, and a lot of them on the pipelines and water lines. Several of them got buried. Ross Calvo, Leroy Trujillo, several, and more than once. And one of our relatives, Randy Borrego, lived on Flag Drive. He died. He got buried in them deep ditches. But Dad worked with, I think most of the miners, I don't know if the coal mine closed in the summer or it really
Yeah.
went down. Yeah.
They did.
And then in the winter when it's cold and you need heat, that's when they
Yeah.
worked. So I know many of them did just like that. Construction in the summer and the coal mine in the winter.
Yeah.
Were you doing construction mainly in the Lafayette area, or did you go all over?
Yeah. All over.
Yeah.
Mostly in Lafayette and
Denver.
Denver
Yeah.
and Boulder.
So did you help put in the sewer lines and water lines in Lafayette when they changed it?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
And how deep were those trenches that you guys were digging?
Some of them are 14 feet,
Yeah, that's
pretty
what's-
deep.
And you were digging those by hand?
Oh no, no,
Oh,
they
you
they
had equipment?
a backhoe.
So
but
what were you,
dangerous ditches.
what were you doing then? What would you
We
do?
setting the pipes, putting the pipes together.
I see. And did you have walls to protect you from the cave-ins, or?
No, they got that now, but they never used to then.
What company did you work for, do you remember?
Latimer.
That was a Denver company who worked for Latimer Construction.
Yeah.
I remember that.
So you did hard physical labor your whole life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember feeling Dad's arms, this muscle right here, whatever that is. Dad's arm, I say, Dad, make your muscle. And it was like Popeye. Mine never was like that. Matter of fact, there's hardly a bump there at all.
Oh, you did all that drumming? Oh, man.
I was very proud of his whatever muscle that is
Well,
right
it's all
there.
about you live to be the age you are, all that work, all that physical activity.
Yeah.
Now, is there anything else you want to get on the mining?
Well, I never did smoke. That's another thing that helped me. Never did smoke in my life.
Have a beer now and then.
Oh yeah. I used to drink a lot of beer.
Who didn't? I mean, I think that people did a
Used
lot
to
of
come
that.
home with my hat like this.
Let's go into too much detail on that one.
Well, Chuck, would you show the lamps and the little tag there and talk about that equipment that,
You know, I know nothing about him. Dad,
see if your dad recognizes any of
what
that
did
stuff.
you say this was?
Check your number in the mine. Your number. See, everybody had a number.
Like a dog tag?
Yeah, like a dog
So
tag.
you would attach that to the coal cart?
No, to your jacket.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Mhm.
And what about this,
Well,
Dad?
now, wait a minute, before you
Oh,
talk
excuse
about-
me.
Did you have another tag that you put up on the wall to let people to know that you were down in the mine?
No,
You didn't.
no.
Well, how did they keep track of who was down there?
Oh, the foremans. The foremans would take care of that.
I see.
Mm.
And what was the object of putting that tag on your shirt or in your pocket? Why did you do that?
Well, just for everybody had his number. You know.
Well, you know what I'm thinking. If you got buried, they'd know who you were.
Yeah.
Like
Was
that,
that
yeah.
the reason for it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of spooky.
Mhm.
Well, speaking of that, was your family a little bit worried every day you went to
Oh,
work?
yeah, yeah.
You know, was that like,
Yeah, they
we
were.
love you and you come home tonight?
Yeah, yeah,
So did you and your dad ever work in the same mine?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
So you had a lot of relatives, it sounds like. Yeah.
Everybody was a coal miner at that time, everybody.
I took him to that statue in Erie by the old school, and man, my Uncle Andrew, Uncle Felix, Alvin Borrego, he's our uncle, Johnny Lucero. I mean, we know so many, most everybody out here. A lot of names.
Very lot.
And this, Dad, what was
This was before my time.
Oh,
Yeah, we never used it. We had the lights up here with a battery in the back.
Yeah, those are earlier ones.
Yeah,
With the oil lamp, aren't they?
yeah, we didn't use them at all.
what about this, Dad? Do you recognize that thing at all? I don't know what it is.
No,
Looked like to water flowers.
It's an old lamp. It's a real early one.
no.
Yeah, that was before Dad. I remember Dad's light and that
No.
a leather belt with that big battery in the back.
Yeah,
But Mom's got a picture of Dad, I believe late 60s. I wish I'd have brought it. I wish I'd have I forgot about it. But your face was pretty black, so you must have been working in the thick of it in that
yeah.
somewhat. My Uncle Rayo Jarmello, he, they have a picture of him and his face was real black. You know, some of the men that were there where it was real tough.
Okay, so you had another story about a relative of yours that deals with the Flatirons Mall, yes?
Yeah, and to the best of my knowledge, I'll do it to the best of my knowledge, but before that Flatirons Mall was built out there, my mother's, I'd say grandpa, I'm not even sure. He's the one that was buried there. And there was a picture on the front of Life magazine. It was only a field with a few cows, and I believe it was Life magazine. My cousin Nancy Jarmello might even have that. And there was a little fence around a stone, and it was the only thing out there. But you could see it from the Boulder Denver Turnpike, and I used to tell the guys at Public Service when I worked, hey, that's my great grandpa.
His name was Joe, right?
Yes. And there was a big cave in, to the best of my knowledge, and they assumed that that's the area he was in. They couldn't get to him, so they put a stone where they thought he might be.
And this is the Monarch mine explosion in the 1930s.
1936.
Yeah, I'm not even aware of some of them numbers.
Yeah.
And his last name was Joe, is that Jarmello?
Jarmello, I believe.
Jarmello, yeah.
Adamio, huh?
How do you
Yeah.
say that?
Oh,
With the J sound?
Yeah,
You know,
Jason Jarmello, yeah.
I say Jarmello because we've been here so long, I don't know the
Right.
correct way
That's
to
what
say
really got it for the announce it, but yeah, you're right. You could just see it forever. And I was kind of sad when the mall went up because I thought that was kind of
Oh, it's very
you know,
special.
it was very it
It's out there by itself.
yeah.
A lost, it said on the front of Life, a forgotten mine or something like that. Very special.
Yeah, it
Not
was.
forgotten.
Now, any other stories about family or mining or?
I sure have one that I'd like to tell. That my uncle Andrew was a
Andrew Borrego?
Andrew Borrego was a coal miner, and when he was in his 90s, he told me about Grandpa Garfield, Dad's great grandpa or whatever. I get all the in-laws and outlaws mixed up, but they had their farm on Coal Creek, and they were going to have a strike because they wanted more money. And I don't remember the amounts, but and some of the coal miners said, "Oh, we can't do this. We got to feed our family. We don't have very much money as it is." And Grandpa and some of the organizers said, "We have to do this if we want more money." So, to the best of my understanding of the story that my uncle told me, Grandpa Garfield took the wagon, and I think he said there were 5 or 6 guys with shotguns, and it was pulled by the wagon was pulled by horses up there, and they said nobody's going to cross the line, and it was a tough situation. I guess nobody crossed the line, and they got their raise, and that's a good story, and I'm very proud because Grandpa was a little thin guy. He's the one that wore the little red. He was a thin man, but very determined man.
talk about it, his scarf.
Oh yeah, he always wore a little red scarf, kind of a cowboy, and he had an old hat with had a hole right here from years of wear. He had a stone wheel about that wide and about that round, and it had two pedals and to go around. He would sharpen his axe, and I used to get on there and I'd see how fast I can go that, get it going. And he said, "Hey, you got a lot of energy. I have a little job you can do. Get rid of some of that energy." He'd get mad at me when I tried to get it going as fast as I could.
So they did a little bit of farming too, right?
Oh yeah, they had two farms on Coal Creek,
Yeah.
but the one as you turn on the road to go to Erie, that one burned down
Yeah.
a long time ago.
I've got some more questions. Would you talk about that coal mine memorial in Erie and some of the names that are on it and the fact about your dad being on it?
Well, I'll let Dad talk, but first of all, I just said that I had heard about it and we never went for some reason or forgot about it. I don't know what the deal was, but I took Dad for the first time just a couple years ago, had that,
Yeah.
and to show him his name was on there, and all our relatives, Uncle Andrew and Felix Borrego, Frank Martinez, and John Lucero. Just we know so many names. I think it's such a fitting tribute to the coal miners there in Erie. I like that
It is
statue.
nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
Very nice. Well, and to the whole area, it was nice they included
Absolutely.
anybody could be
Sure.
remembered.
Anybody that was coal miners, like we say, we talk about Lafayette, Louisville, and Erie, but there was everybody wants to feed their family. Everybody needs a job.
Frederick and
Yeah.
Puritan.
Oh yeah. Frederick. Yeah. Firestone.
Firestone.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Puritan.
Yeah, because you were working more in that area.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Do you like our statue down at City Hall? Have you seen our miner down there on Main Street?
Yes. Yes. I think it's nice, but for some reason, I like the one in Erie, and I think because it's life size, you can walk around it and read all the names. A lot of statues and tributes to the coal miners. There's one here on Louisville, very nice, but I like the one in Erie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause I
it's
think
my
it
favorite.
personalizes it, because you see the names there and you know, oh, I knew all these families.
Yeah, yeah.
I know for me, that's what I feel too. Yeah, I think it was a nice idea.
You were talking about the kind of coal that you mined or you
Mhm.
helped to mine. Now, I know in our town they used to pave the streets with the red ash.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the same in Lafayette? The red ash from the mines?
Yeah.
And they paved the streets?
Yeah.
Was it pretty dusty in those days?
Yeah, it was pretty dusty, yeah.
Do you remember when they paved it with asphalt then, or was that a big day?
Yeah.
I remember that.
Uh-huh.
It's funny you said that because the street Dad lives on, North Finch, it was not paved for 100 years. I don't know what year they did it, just a couple of years ago had that. And what I heard was that there was a prominent business guy in Lafayette, Paul Rhodes, and he owned some rental properties, and he didn't want to have to pay for all them. That's a story. I don't know how true that is. But that street, when Lafayette was all paved for years, our street wasn't, where Dad lives on Finch. And then it got paved not too many years ago. Not at all.
The area that you're talking about was called First Union. It was a subdivision, and I don't know, yeah, you're right. It just, when the rest of town got paved in the 50s, they kind of fought, didn't want it. Or
I've
somebody
heard,
didn't want it.
yeah, so many different stories. You know how stories can get changed, and you try and be factual, but they get changed without even trying.
Makes for a better story.
I agree.
Yeah.
I also wanted to know, did you work like an 8-hour day or a 10-hour
Yeah,
day?
8 hours.
Do you remember when you first started how much money you got paid?
About 7.5, I think, 7.5 an hour.
And this was when you were 17 years old?
Yeah.
Was that a pretty good salary?
Oh yeah, that was the best.
Yeah.
Everybody used to be a coal miner because that was the best job around.
Oh, really?
Mm.
Better than the farming in the summer?
Oh yeah.
I see. Do you remember how much your dad and your grandpa got paid when they were, years before you started?
No. Mm.
Yeah. Now, what would you do after work then?
What do you mean after work?
Well, you came home from working all day.
You know, just take it easy.
Take,
And wait
Be
for
good
the
at
next-
that.
and wait for the next day.
And then, did you used to take a shower at the mine?
Yeah. Yeah. Showers at the mine, yeah.
And then you changed back into your regular clothes
Yeah.
from your that was
Yeah.
hanging on your hook.
Mhm.
So then you don't have to bring all that dust and stuff
No,
home. Yeah.
no.
Well, how did you clean those mining clothes then? Were they cleaned at the mine, or did you bring them home?
Brought them home to wash.
In a gunny sack. I remember
Oh,
that.
really?
Yeah.
Now, did you wash them, or did your mom
My
or
wife.
your wife
My
wash
wife.
them?
Yeah.
Well, that must have been a mess.
Oh, yeah, it was a mess.
Did you wash them by hand,
Yeah.
and then just threw the dirty water out on the
Yeah. On the
in
road,
the yard
yeah.
in the road?
Mhm.
How often would you do that?
About twice a month.
Oh, really? They must have been just black.
Oh, yeah.
It was probably more than that. We mess up on some of the numbers, but I remember Mom, one of them tubs from them days,
Yeah.
whatever it was, about that deep and about that round. Before she did any laundry, she would take them and get the most of the dust and dirt, and then throw that, and then wash them.
And then she had a scrub board, probably.
Oh yeah, she had a. I remember it. She had the deluxe one, which is bigger. Some are like that, but she had a bigger one.
I've got a couple in the kitchen. I'm gonna go get them for you to show.
Oh, well, I don't remember. I could be exaggerating, but I've seen them little like that. But
Yes.
hers was a bigger. I know there's at least 2 sizes
Yes.
that I'm aware of.
But you must have gotten dirty just after
Oh,
working
yeah.
one day. I mean,
Yeah.
your face was. Did you ever get all that dirt out of your skin? It must have been kind of tattooed on.
Yeah. We used to take a shower every night.
I'm sure.
Mhm.
I'm sure that water was running black.
Yeah. Yeah.
So can we talk about, do you have anything more on money, or can we talk about your,
Well, I want to ask about bonuses. Did you ever get any bonuses for anything?
I don't remember that, no.
Did you get Christmas bonus maybe, or birthday bonus, or something
No, I
like that?
don't think so.
Did you ever get holidays off?
Yeah, like Christmas,
Not like 10 holidays a year though, just
no, no.
Christmas and New Year's, and that was about it.
holidays, I guess, for when you're out of work, huh?
I guess so.
Hmm.
And one other thing too I wanted to ask you was, what did a lot of the young boys do, and how young were the youngest boys who came into the mines, and what was their job?
They were about 19, 20 years old,
Okay.
driving the buggies.
And what would they drive? They wouldn't use the mules, or would they use the mules?
Yeah, they'd use the mules too.
Okay.
That was hand loading.
Oh, hand loading, okay.
Yeah,
That's
the
what?
Hand loading.
hand loading. That was a lot of shoveling and them cars. And the other one was a continuous miner. That was come later.
With the conveyor belt,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so let's go back and talk about when you were growing up in Lafayette, and how many brothers and sisters you had, where you grew up. So let's talk about your life growing up as a kid.
Well, I had a brother and a sister. My sister died. I still got my brother,
And what's your brother's name?
Ernie.
Okay.
Ernie Silva.
And you grew up in Lafayette.
Yeah,
So you spent your whole life there.
91 years.
Okay. So what was it like as a kid there?
And the what?
What was it like growing up in Lafayette? What did you do for fun?
Oh, we used to go to Denver to Lakeside.
Oh. Did you ride the train?
Yeah, and the trains and the Ferris wheel and all that.
Uh-huh. Oh.
But I sure liked when I was young, that Dad would take me hunting where Grandma lived on Coal Creek there, and he had a 22 pump, and I just loved. Unfortunately, it got burned when the house, one of the farms burned, and that rifle, which I loved, got burned up. But Dad would take me walk. I wasn't allowed. I just walked with him. But I remember a little rabbit was sitting right in the hole, and Dad just took a shot, boom, and then we'd take that rabbit home and skin him. And he liked rabbit, huh, Dad?
Oh, yeah.
And chicken.
Took her right home and ate it, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure, yeah, there was a lot more hunting available in those days.
Oh yeah, ducks and geese and all the pheasants.
Pheasants, yeah.
You don't see none of that stuff around no more. I mean, you see ducks and geese, but none of pheasants.
No.
Did you ever go look for, do you ever eat, like the dandelions? Did you eat those
Oh
too?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was something my grandma was always looking for too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what, did you, in town, did you go to dances, the movies?
Oh yeah, dances, movies, yeah.
Where did they have, do you remember any places they had the dances at? Was there a hall or something?
They had a theater there, and that's it called the Jewel Theater.
What was the name?
I didn't remember
Jewel,
that.
Jewel Theater.
I remember reading about that.
No.
Huh, I don't remember that one.
Yeah.
What sort of movies
Think of
would you
before
look
time.
at? Were they?
Cowboys. Cowboys and Indians.
Well, and everything was on Simpson Street in those days, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so there would have been a movie theater,
yeah.
grocery stores.
Oh yeah,
Do you remember the drugstore?
yeah,
Who was the doctor? Did you ever have to go to the doctor in town?
yeah. Dr. Porter.
Dr. Porter.
Ah,
Okay. Yeah.
I'll tell you what I thought was interesting was when Dad, when I was little, I better remember Charlie Scholes,
Mhm.
Yes.
That was
Uh,
the grocery store.
and that Dad said that during the Depression or hard times, or I don't remember what, but they would give a little bit of credit because people didn't have no money.
Mm.
And I remember that old store, Charlie Scholes store.
Yeah.
He was the grocery store.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he had that store until about 1960.
Yeah,
Boy,
Long
something like
time.
that.
long time.
And Joe Roderick's place up the street.
Yeah.
Well, how did you ever pay him back then? I mean, did you pay him in the summer or no, in the winter when you had the money?
Yeah, we'd have credit
Okay.
and then pay them in the winter. Yeah.
Yeah. Lafayette was pretty much, you could get everything you wanted in those days, huh?
Yeah.
All the stores were there and.
I remember the creaky floors in Charlie Scholes' place. It was a narrow little store, if I remember right, mainly one main and wood floor.
Like one little light bulb. Well, and that store is in the 400 block of East Simpson. The building's still
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which side? On the south side?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I do remember that next to that was, what was that guy named Dad with the hats? Hitchcock's or?
Yeah, and the little store burned down.
Oh,
Remember, I remember it burned down. Hitchcock. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
he had hats, like top hats. I was pretty young then, but I remember them hats in the window at that, right next to Charlie Scholes, I believe.
Right, and it's vacant. It burned down, and they never built anything else there. I do remember the store.
Top hats.
Uh,
Who would be buying a top
derbies.
hat in Lafayette?
You know what? It doesn't seem to me like he hardly ever sold too many hats, but I would know that for sure. But there were special hats, not like regular, like dress-up hats. But it seemed to me like most of them had the rim up, you know, like
Oh.
derby kind of hats.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people wore more hats though in those days. So
Yeah.
maybe that could be, yeah.
Now, what church did you go to?
Catholic,
Yeah.
Catholic Church. Yeah.
So would you have gone to St. Ida's first?
Do what?
St. Ida's?
St. Iris. Yeah.
So did you make your first communion?
Yeah.
Baptized there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I thought was neat, I'd like to interrupt because Dad told me this story, that my grandpa, his dad, in 1954, the Immaculate Conception Church was built. And my grandpa, his dad was, helped build that. And I was so proud of that because that was the old days when they said, Saturday we need some carpenters and bricklayers and a plumber. And people would get together like the old days and help. And I was so glad that my grandpa helped build that church. And then they only built a new one, what, 5 years ago, or I don't know how many
Yeah.
years ago.
So the original St. Ida's, the building is still there. It's in the 100 block of West Cannon Street.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
their residence. I know I was baptized there. I'm sure you were too.
probably.
And then the church moved 2 blocks up on Roosevelt.
That's correct. That's the one I'm talking
Right,
about, I
or
think.
like 110 East West Simpson. And then the new Immaculate Conception is out on
across from Walmart.
Crossing Drive, across from Walmart on 87, yeah. And it's a big parish.
But I remember when I was real little, Father Joseph was one of the main, when I was younger.
Were you
I
an altar
remember.
boy?
What's that? Oh, no, no.
You did?
And one of the reasons is it was difficult. Remember Latin? I couldn't hardly talk Spanish, much less Latin.
Were you ever an altar boy? Did you ever serve Mass?
No, never,
No? You
never
went to
did.
church every Sunday, I
Oh
bet,
yeah,
huh?
yeah, but never worked for the church.
Never did that, okay, yeah. Now, what year did you get married?
What?
When did you get married? What year?
Well, we've been married 65 years. And I used to drink like hell. I don't know how my woman put up with me. I'd get home with my hat like
Now, was your mom from Lafayette too, Chuck? Or-
Yeah, they come from Aguilar
So,
and
same?
Trinidad.
So a lot of the families moved from that area and they all came up
Yes,
here together.
yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was her name? What's her
Borrego,
name? What's your wife's name?
Dolores
Dolores, she was Dolores Borrego.
Silva,
Yeah.
because I'm a Silva.
Yeah, but she was a Borrego. before
No.
No, she wasn't?
No,
No.
we got mixed up with his mother was Andrea Borrego. She was a Borrego before she married.
My dad, yeah.
Yeah, Silva, and then he became a Silva.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
That's how the Silva, I guess.
Oh, so no wonder it gets confusing for you. Huh?
Oh, in-laws and outlaws, and Grandma had a lot of kids. I always say in-laws and outlaws.
Oh. How many kids did she have?
Oh man,
I mean, kids,
yeah,
who, Mama?
yeah. No, not your mom, Emiliana, Grandma.
Oh, grabbing them about 9.
Yeah, quite a few. I don't remember.
So you have a big family.
So lots of cousins and everything. Everybody's your cousin
Yeah.
in town.
So you had 2 kids, Chuck, and then
Becky.
what's your daughter's name?
My daughter,
Mm-hmm.
Rebecca.
Rebecca. And she still lives in Lafayette too, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what about Lafayette? Why have you stayed there so long? You never wanted to move anywhere else?
No, I love Lafayette. Lived there all my life.
As do we. As we do. And you raised your kids there, and they both stayed there, so.
Yeah.
Everybody's from somewhere, and we're from Lafayette.
Proud to be.
Yes, yes.
You know, Louisville, in the old days when we first started settling, people kind of had like ethnic neighborhoods, you know, like we had Little Italy and Frenchtown and Kimberville and Kimbertown, I guess they count. Was that the same over in Lafayette? Did people of ethnic groups kind of group together, or was everybody just kind of a scramble?
I think it was kind of like a scrabble.
Uh-huh.
The difference between Lafayette and Louisville, I think Lafayette, what I was told, was really kind of run by the English and Welsh.
Mm-hmm.
They were, yeah. So if you were another group, they weren't always nice to you. Yeah, yeah. So, but Louisville was much more segregated.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, now, speaking of that, could you tell the story, or if you care to, about a swimming pool situation that you guys had going over there? If you want to tell that story, I think it would be interesting.
They had a swimming pool, but they had white trade only.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even Mexican swim in there.
Mm-hmm.
So you never got to swim in it?
No.
And what did they do at the swimming pool?
They finally filled it full of dirt. No. There was a lot of discrimination then.
Because it was right by the high school, wasn't it?
Yeah.
In the park?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now which high school is that?
Well, it was by where Pioneer is now, kind of where that street is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where the Berger
Yeah,
Rec
so
Center
it would
is?
be kind of where the street is, where you're going into the rec center, between the rec center and Pioneer.
Oh, just at the end of South Public
Yeah.
Road then,
Yeah,
where that
No.
continues.
yeah.
And how long was that pool even open?
Couple of years, I think.
I
It wasn't
see.
long. Well,
Isn't that
Lafayette had a Ku
amazing?
Klux Klan.
Yeah.
Of course, Louisville did too. So,
I've barely heard a little bit about that.
yeah. Yeah.
But
I could name names, but I won't.
Well, I'd like to hear some of them names after this is over, because I don't know. I've just heard stories.
Yeah, I'll tell you names after we're
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
But-
oh, go ahead.
I said I do want to say that Lafayette and Louisville have had this little rivalry in football and all that, and that's fine and dandy. But I can honestly say that I have always liked Louisville. Fine little community. We're neighbors, and my buddy DiGennardo and a whole bunch of I know some of the Del Forges and some different people here in Louisville, and I think Louisville's a fine little town. You know that Lafayette Louisville thing. I never thought it was that wonderful.
Well, would you tell us about playing baseball on our miners' field, Chuck?
Oh yeah, Lafayette did not have a softball field until many years after this miners field, which is right there. So we got a team, the LTDs, Lafayette Town Drunks, and we played in Louisville here. And I'm not sure, without lying excessively, I think we won the league the first 5 years we played. So the Louisville guys, they didn't like us more after that. But then we got a field in Lafayette, and so we played in Lafayette, where
And this was an adult league?
recreation, fun league, fun to play ball. I loved playing in Louisville. Scarpella, I forget his first name, but he became a good friend of mine. He kind of ran that. Now, yeah,
Frank?
Chucky Scarpella, and I became good friends with him. Gary Carnival, lots of Louisville guys my age. I said that Lafayette Louisville thing, didn't like it, didn't buy it. The guys I know from here, very nice.
Not even during football season?
You know, I say again that I like Louisville. Nice neighbors and nice little town. We're neighbors. Why can't we be friends? And I'm not just saying that.
Yeah, let's stop for a second. Okay, so what we'd like to end with today is just your family traditions, foods you like to cook, what weddings. So what were typical foods you loved?
Menudo.
Which is,
You know what that is?
yes, but tell them what it is.
I love it. It's cow belly, isn't it?
Tripe. But I'd like to interrupt because Dad, Grandma on her farm out here on Coal Creek, she had me help clean the menudo, and it's tripe, the belly of, well, I forget a cow or a pig, I forget. I
Cow.
think it's a cow, yeah. But Grandma gave me this brush, and you know, the cows eat grass and it was green. And she said, you have to scrub all that off. And I said, Grandma, it won't come off. She says, yeah, well, you have to scrub it off.
I had no
And,
idea.
but when they butchered a pig at Grandma's, I loved it because they put the guts in this tub, the one you take a bath in on Saturday night, and we'd poke them with a stick, and the intestines still moving. But Grandma had a big bench long enough for like 6 people, and all people were welcome when they come to eat her dad. I love to go to Grandma's, and I chop wood for her and get water from the well. And she always had a little Indian sandwich, she called it, piece of tortilla with a few potatoes, maybe a couple of peas, something that they didn't eat all. But she wouldn't even throw away like 4 peas.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man! So that was good memories. I like that.
So you had a lot of family dinners out there?
Oh yeah, like on Sundays, had Dad. Uncle Hawk would come from Frederick. You know, a lot of families, so they'd come down here on Coal Creek, and a nice gathering of food. I loved it. I remember that, and all the little kids screaming and getting in trouble. And Grandma would make us pray. So if we get too rowdy and wild when we were little, we had to play church, and everybody, you can't talk in church. So everybody walked around like this, but it didn't last long.
Did you ever have music or anything? Or
Oh yeah, some of Uncle Rudy and Uncle Roy, some of would play the guitars a little bit, and it was good times.
nice times, simpler, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now everybody eats on the run. You don't even sit in the kitchen at the table. Not even in my house with my kids very much. It's times change.
Yeah, instead of everybody getting together on Sundays. So, did you ever travel out of Lafayette?
Went to Mexico once.
Too? Did you go see family or?
Yeah, relatives over there.
So, what part of Mexico did your family come from?
Chilchota, Michoacan. That's a Mexican town, and
Yeah.
that's where we went.
Would you say that word again?
Chilchota, Michoacan.
I'm not going to spell that one.
I believe that's where his dad was born, Dad?
Yeah.
So did you ever go too?
No, I went fishing there with some buddies one time, years later.
Yeah.
Not to that place.
Yeah.
I don't know where we were.
So did you vacation in Colorado at all?
No.
Take a weekend off or a camp or anything like that?
Oh yeah, we was always fishing.
Okay.
Always fishing on weekends.
Fond memories where Dad would take me to the family, my mom and my sister, our family, to the Pooter and Estes Park. I loved it. I was there last week and loved to go to the mountains. This is a mountain man right here. He loved go fishing.
Boy, from being down in the earth and then up on the top.
Up to
Yeah,
the top of
yeah.
the mountains.
Good for you. Good for you. Did you camp when you were in the mountains then?
Oh,
or
yeah.
Did you just come home? You camped
Camp, yeah.
in tents and
Stay a couple of days, yeah.
fun.
So, when you were a kid, who were your best friends? Was it family, or did you have or other friends from town?
Yeah.
Who were some of your friends, Dad? Ross Calvo,
Yeah, Roscoe.
Alex Torres, all those, John Lucero, Freddie Montes, all them guys.
So, what's your most favorite memory of your? If you had to think about your life, what's something that you just remember more than anything? That's a hard one.
No, not so hard. Right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of good ones in that.
Yeah. Probably having Chuck.
Yeah.
I don't know about if that was one of his best
So, what do you
highlights.
think the biggest change has been in Lafayette in your lifetime since you've lived there so long?
Oh, and all these homes and stuff.
Yeah, getting bigger.
Oh, yeah.
Do you mind that, or would you rather it be a smaller town?
I wish it's a smaller town.
I'm
One
with you on that.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, what advice would you give? And Chuck, you could too. If you had to tell, your grandkids, or what's the best advice you'd give them? What would you tell them? How should they live their life? Is it tough one too much?
I'll tell you one thing that I would say, and that's 2 words, maybe it's 2 words. Slow down. A small town, what's the rush? We like a small town. We like the simplicity and not the big dog pile. So you take time to smell the roses, so to speak. And we're very proud that we live in a small town. Nice to be close to Denver. We go there once in a while, but we want to come home to a small town. And we're very proud to live in a small town, huh, Dad?
Oh, yeah.
And you still go for coffee every morning.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We were there this morning.
Yeah.
So that's a nice tradition too.
And I want to intervene this right now that I love it. I started going, I'm one of the youngest guys of all them guys. And when I find out, all these guys, once you get talking with them, all these old timers, this guy's a machinist. One guy's a sculptor, carved ducks and birds out of wood. He's very, very good. Sell some of them for hundreds of dollars, some for thousands. Just people, interesting people.
That have had interesting lives.
We all have stuff to contribute, all of us.
Manuel, do you have any? What words would you give to your great grandkids about life?
Just take it easy, be honest, and take it easy.
That's right, take it easy.
Take it
So-
easy, be honest, and what was the other one? Is that it?
Right there.
There you are.
That's a good one, Dad.
Yeah.
You know, I like to say that it's real nice to see you two guys obviously loving each other and really enjoying each other.
Yeah.
It's a delight to have you both be in this interview and share this with us.
Yes, thank you so much.
But I just really admire the camaraderie that you two have and the love you show for each other. And how nice it is to be together so much too, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. So
Thank you.
we appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
You touched my heart.
Okay.